Can somebody explain to me in crayon eating terms why I make over 3 times the federal minimum wage and I cannot afford to live? And I do not want to hear the pull yourself up from your bootstraps, work 90 hours a week. That's not the goal, guys. That's not. That should not be our standard. I am so fucking tired of people being complacent with this uniparty, both of them fucking us over. I, when my parents were my age, they both made less than half of what I make and they lived alone. I cannot afford to live anywhere alone. A 1-bedroom apartment, $1,800. 2-bedroom apartment, $2,200. Who the fuck can afford that? It is embarrassing to come out and say that it is a struggle to survive right now, but I know so many people are struggling. And do not get me started on what my grandparents were doing. They $3,000 house. And yes, I understand inflation and all of the bullshit that they have been pulling with the Fed. Why are we allowing it? Why? And then I clock out of my shift. I am tired. I have to go home. And I check the news. Another 60 fucking billion to a country nobody can point out on a map. What are we doing? Where has the plot gone? We have lost it, folks. We have fucking lost it. The American dream is dead. It is over. Gone and forgotten.
I just know too many Gen Z that are able to buy a house. You know how? They went closer to the family, they start living outside of the city, and most people that are Gen Z that are still complaining are like, it's boring and I have to be in a city because I want everything close to me in 50 minutes. The fact that you think it's your human right to live in a specific way, the government is going to see that and decide a way to get all your money. And if they don't, they will find the most hurt person and get a reason to help them with the moral point that you're advocating for.
What needs to be happening here is that Black Americans and white Americans and Latino Americans are all getting together and saying, we're fucking Americans and you're not gonna with us. If they're Americans and you come here from your shithole country and you fuck with us, you're gonna be dealt with. That needs to be the policy. Running up and down the streets, punching people, fucking doing whatever the they want, beating up the cops, flipping the cops off. They divided us intentionally in 2020 so that this exact unity wouldn't happen when they did this shit. People are starting to figure it out. I love it, dude. I love it. People are starting to get it. It's Americans and then it's other people. It's not black, it's not white, it's not gay, it's not straight, it's Americans, and then it's other people.
Always gonna affect my life. I can't take off my skin color. As a Black woman, like, prejudices that exist against me don't exist against you, Brian. And that's why you can't be racist against a white person. So I'm sorry if you feel offended, but you are white, and me calling you white boy isn't exactly racist.
I mean, you are addressing me by my skin color. I consider
your
it a
skin
bit,
color will never lead to the, premature murder of yourself. Like, I don't know, like.
I would actually point out one thing to you. Me as a white man, I'm the only male at this table here. There are more white men killed by police officers than women of any race combined.
I mean, then why aren't you mad? Why don't you hate police too?
Because I realize that police are a necessary function of society. Without police, it would be chaos.
And if certain people are a little careful around me, I don't care. They have the right to do that because everybody has a personal experience and I give them the chance to understand me and be like, okay, maybe I exaggerated. That is the right way to do it. And if you do it long enough, more people think like that, you might sign up more people in a positive way. I have enough issues with the government and I need to work to make the time so I can do something about it. And you're like, well, I'm not gonna work, but I'm gonna make it worse for you because you need to complain with me. I'm like, no.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Life scale, yes, absolutely. I have full capabilities of becoming a wife.
So,
Oh no.
Correct me if I'm wrong, you are a sex worker, right?
Yeah.
Why would you think that you would make a good wife?
Just because I have a certain profession does not take away from my ability to care, love, and provide something that my partner is seeking.
Are you sure about that?
Well, the science would disagree. Have you ever heard of a phenomenon called pair bonding?
No, tell me.
Are you aware that the less sexual partners a woman has, the easier it is and the more likely it is that she can pair bond with her first sexual partner?
Okay, but that doesn't mean that I can't bond with my person now.
Well, it's true. You could be the exception to the rule, but wouldn't it throw up a red flag if it was known that the more sexual partners a woman had, the less likely it would be that she would actually be able to bond with you? For instance, the more men you sleep with, the more likely you are to be divorced, for instance. The more likely you are to step out of a long-term relationship. All of those things are true, and that's probably due to this pair bonding thing. So why would a man want to trust a sex worker to be a wife?
I can trust a sex worker. I have no issue with that, just like I can trust a woman beater. They all can change.
I think it's racist to require an ID to vote.
Yes.
Opinion on voter ID laws?
Yeah, they're usually pretty racist and they're bad.
I think voter ID laws are a way to perpetuate racism.
Definitely. Because they're less likely to have state IDs. You can always get IDs you do over the internet. Does that also make it difficult for black people in particular?
Yeah, you have to have access to the internet. You have to be able to pay an internet service provider for certain fees.
Do you think that's harder for black people to go online?
Well, I feel like they don't have the knowledge of how it works.
I beg your pardon?
I mean, the moment people start treating me like a chihuahua because of my skin color, because I can't swim, and suddenly they take me to the beach, and at the same time when I want to walk on the sand, they're gonna be like, no, you're gonna get dirty, let me put you in a handbasket.
Yeah, that's a good point. I get it. I see what you're saying.
Now I'm here in East Harlem to ask black people their thoughts on what you just heard. Do you carry ID?
Yes, I do.
Do you know any black person who doesn't carry ID?
No. Why would they think we don't have ID?
That's a lie. Why would they say that?
Do you have ID?
Yes.
Everybody that I know have ID. Like, that's one of the things you need to walk around with New York with.
Do you have a problem if when you go to vote, if they say, could we please just see your ID to make sure you are who you say you are? Do you have an issue with that?
No.
That's racist.
About socialism do you not like?
Like the 130 million people that died under socialism in the last 100 years.
Yeah. That'll do it.
The fact that every country that engages in a socialist direction becomes less free, less prosperous.
Do you think that maybe there's like a middle ground where you can have a little bit of both?
Everything comes at a price. The states that are the most socialistic are the worst and hardest states to live in this country. California, New York, Illinois have the most people leaving. Highest taxes, most social benefits, most social welfare, and they're leaving for states that are freer with lower taxes and more economic freedom. So everything comes at a price.
I mean, if you like socialism so much, just go live in a socialist country. Well, guess what? Most people that abide by all the rules of socialism, they don't exist. But those that do exist, you're gonna have a bunch of Gen Z complaining.
That's not the goal, guys!
Have you heard of the term microaggression?
Yeah, that's a big thing on campus. If we see large-scale violence, we can name that as a macroaggression. But the way that we devalue that violence, the way that we silence that violence, that's a microaggression.
I'm asking an Asian American, where were you born?
Yes.
Very, very contextual, you know?
That's not a microaggression. That's just asking where they were born.
Only people that are logical can make sense, and only people without sense can be racist.
Telling a black student that he or she is very articulate.
That is, yeah. Yes.
What about saying all lives matter?
I think because the history behind Black Lives Matter, it's kind of like appropriating a statement that was created specifically to talk about black lives being lost to police brutality. So that is. I'm colorblind. I don't see race.
Possibly.
I believe the most qualified person should get the job.
Qualifications aren't really the only thing you should consider when hiring someone.
If you're saying that the most qualified person is someone who is not a minority or not of a religion you believe in, then yes, that'd be a microaggression.
Saying God bless you after somebody sneezes.
Oh, that would be a microaggression because of different religions. Yeah, it could be a microaggression to someone who doesn't believe in God.
Not only are you dumber, you're softer, and at the same time, I think you're very racist and divisive.
No, this is not going to go on the air. You don't unless it is because I'm like a liberal freak out, right?
Keep telling yourself that, darling.
And I can't put up with white supremacy because that's really what, yeah, you might not be able to see it. Either you don't want to or you just...
Okay, so what if there's a black squatter and a black homeowner? That's not white supremacy.
See, white supremacy is not an affliction of skin. It is a state of mind.
Ladies and gentlemen, if a woman grabs my ball, it's patriarchy bigotry. If a gay man grabs my ball, it's homophobia, anti-LGBTQ. In other words, ladies and gentlemen, you cannot escape. It's all about the feelings.
Us as black women, age reminds me a lot of you. Like, you say you're not really about me. And she knows how her privilege has gotten her to that point. And also, like, she's good at basketball, obviously. But, like, she understands her privilege and, like, pushes her over the top in a sense. It reminds me a lot of you. And I mean, that's a compliment.
I mean, this is how I feel about that compliment.
Brother, what's that?
This is just stupid, because that's like me saying, well, you're a single mom because you're black.
A group of liberal professors recently claimed that pointing out Hamas's atrocious record on gay rights is in and of itself homophobic violence.
So I've been at protests where I'm then told, don't you know what Hamas would do to you if you were in Palestine? And we have to start naming this actually as homophobic.
This is why people are leaving the left. And this is also why people feel like they're going insane. Because you can't just make an observation about a thing anymore without being labeled a bunch of names.
Yeah.
Just for being an honest person now, people will say, you shouldn't work anymore, and you should, it's absolutely flustering. You're like, that's a guy in a dress. They go, what did you say?
Yeah.
It's not a guy. And you're like, I'm pretty sure it's a biological guy. I don't know what to say. I'm sorry.
Women have lost their damn mind.
And for honest observation, I got demonetized. Maybe I need to open a Patreon, I don't know, maybe a PayPal or whatever, because life ain't very good for people that want to have an honest conversation. But let me know with a like if you agree.
Don't get me wrong, makosa kita bong. Put the fire na mi blonde, kush, hash, purple, skunk, criollo, colombici, jam, jam, durloqueta, verdeta, welcome.